Hello, and welcome back to another tips and tricks, focusing on some interesting ways that you can use Waymaker. I wanted to take some time to focus on the branching sequencing mode, which is probably the least obvious way that you can use Waymaker's sequencers. So you might recall that each sequencer can be used in one of three modes. There's the generate sequencer, which is going to create MIDI. There's the transpose mode, which is going to affect MIDI. And then there's the branch mode, which is going to react to MIDI. So I've set up this sequence. I've got it going to a little soft synth. And I set up some drums just to give it some context. So let's take a listen to just what this sequence sounds like in generate mode. So it's cool enough, but maybe it could be a little cooler. So I had originally thought about the branch mode as a way to kind of trigger these sequences rhythmically, and then everything else kind of followed from there. So I'm going to put the sequence in add mode, and then I've created this little MIDI clip that I'm going to send to Waymaker. So you can see that these notes are triggering kind of in a less predictable and kind of syncopated way. So let's kind of hear how that affects this sequence. So every time Waymaker receives a note, it's going to start an instance of this sequence, and you can see here, I've got this sequence in hold mode. So it's only going to last as long as the note that's being fed into it. So this is kind of a way to almost like trigger just one statement of this sequence. And then if you've got it in hold mode, it's almost like a reset, except you can also control how long the sequence lasts. So we can start to play around with, you know, how long we want each of these steps to last. And we're almost like chopping up this melody as if it were a sample, but instead we're doing it completely with MIDI, so we can do anything that MIDI allows us to do as well. This also gets really cool once we think about the fact that adding sequencers can be transposed based on the incoming MIDI. So I'm not doing anything with the pitch right now, but we can start to change that pitch around. So you can see how this is different than a transposing sequencer, because we're actually starting the sequence again every time we send it a note. In transpose mode, this sequence would be kind of free running on its own accord, but here we're starting it over and re-triggering it. So it's kind of like a reset and a transpose at the same time. And they can overlap, of course. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of how you can use Waymaker's branching sequencers. Of course, you can also drop the probability, turn this into a whole generative thing. You can kind of go nuts with it. So looking forward to hearing what you guys cook up with it.